Have you ever wondered why your kindness, the very thing you see as your light, your strength, ends up leaving you exhausted, confused, and sometimes even lost? Imagine this moment. You wake up, look in the mirror, and realize that all your patience, understanding, and the times you clenched your teeth to forgive weren't building a relationship. They were digging a deeper hole for you to fall into. Today, we are confronting a harsh but necessary truth. When you are kind to a narcissist, you are not healing them. You are loading the gun they will point at your heart. This isn't just a story of kindness being taken advantage of. It's a silent battle happening within your soul, a war you might not even realize you're losing. Stoicism, the philosophy of figures like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, teaches us that life is truly within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and how we respond to the world. But with a narcissist, your kindness, what should be a sacred gift, becomes a weapon they use to manipulate, control, and make you question your own worth. This video isn't just a lecture, it's a wake-up call, a roadmap to help you break free from being prey and take control of your destiny. Think about this. Have you ever felt like a devoted soldier, fighting for someone who never truly fought for you? I've been there, and I bet many of you have too. Today we're going on a deep journey together, from dissecting how narcissists bend your kindness like a wire artist, to using the harsh yet powerful lessons of Stoic philosophy to reclaim your power. This isn't a video you'll watch once and forget. This is a small revolution in your mind. Stay until the end. There's a practical exercise waiting for you, a concrete step to start making a change today. Kindness is a noble virtue, no one can argue that. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who lived nearly 2,000 years ago, once wrote in Meditations, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." It's a beautiful reminder, a call for us to live with compassion and understanding. But pause for a second and look deeper. What happens when the person you meet isn't actually struggling, or worse, when their battle is deliberately hurting you to feel superior? To a narcissist, your kindness isn't a guiding light on their path, it's a weakness to exploit, a door they will walk through without hesitation to drain your energy, your time, and even your soul. I want to share a personal story, a scar I carry that taught me this lesson. I once had a friend, or at least someone I thought was a friend. They were always in crisis. One day it was work, the next it was family, then another failed relationship they had sabotaged themselves. I was there, listening for hours, offering advice, even sacrificing my own time to help them through. I believed my kindness would be a lifeline, that my patience would help them see the light. But then one day I realized something. They didn't want to be saved. They wanted me to keep diving in, to keep giving so they could stand on my shoulders and feel important. Every time I forgave, they didn't appreciate it. They simply pushed the boundaries further, as if testing how much I could endure before I collapsed. This is the first red flag you need to recognize. When you are kind to a narcissist, they don't respond with sincerity or gratitude. Imagine handing them a gift, a box of expensive chocolates, for example. A normal person would say, "Thank you," and cherish it. But a narcissist? They'd open the box, eat everything, and then ask, "Is that all?" with a calculated smile. Your kindness doesn't soften them, it emboldens them. They don't see you as a generous person, they see you as an opponent in a game you don't even realize you're playing. Look deeper into how they react. When you are patient with their selfishness, they don't think, "Wow, this person is amazing, I should treat them better." No, they think, "This person isn't leaving, how much more can I take?" When you forgive their lies or their lack of respect, they don't self-reflect. They tell themselves, "I can keep doing this forever." This isn't a human connection. It's a one-sided transaction where you are the giver and they are the relentless taker. Now, let's examine this through the lens of Stoicism. Seneca, one of the greatest Roman philosophers, wrote in On the Shortness of Life that kindness is a part of a virtuous life, but he also warned that it should not be blind sacrifice. If your giving only results in pain, exhaustion, and emptiness, then it is not virtue, it is self-destruction. Stoicism doesn't teach you to be a doormat for others to walk on. It teaches you to live rationally, to discern between what is worth your investment and what only drains you. Think of kindness like a fire. When you share it with the right people, it spreads, two flames burning together, warming both sides. But with a narcissist, they don't bring their own fire to merge with yours. They bring a bucket of water to extinguish your flame, or worse, they use it to burn you down until nothing remains but ashes. I once believed that if I just kept burning, I would eventually warm them. But the truth is, the stronger my fire was, the more they sought to consume it, not to grow, but to control. This is the first lesson you must internalize. Kindness is a strength, but only when placed in the right hands. To a narcissist, it is not a gift. It is a double-edged sword, and if you're not careful, that blade will turn back on you, cutting deeper than you ever expected. In the next part, we'll uncover exactly how they turn that sword into a weapon. Now, imagine yourself sitting in front of a chessboard. You believe you're the player, holding the white pieces ready to play a fair game. But then a chilling realization sets in. The narcissist isn't just your opponent. They own the board, rewriting the rules every time you're about to win. This is how they operate. They don't love you as a person with emotions, dreams, and personal boundaries. They love what you provide for them. Your attention is gold. Your forgiveness is oxygen. Your energy fuels their ever-expanding ego. Every time you show kindness, you're not building a relationship. You're recharging the battery of a power game they've rigged to ensure you never win. Let's break down their strategy. Narcissists are masters at distorting reality, a psychological tactic known as gaslighting. Have you ever walked away from an argument with them feeling dizzy, questioning yourself? Am I being too sensitive? Did I remember that wrong? Am I the one in the wrong? I've been there. I know that feeling. Once, I confronted a narcissist in my life about repeatedly breaking promises. I stayed calm, laid out the facts, but they flipped it back on me. You always exaggerate everything. That's not how it happened. I began doubting my own memory, wondering if I was overreacting. But what was the truth? I wasn't wrong. They were just incredibly skilled at making me believe I was, keeping me under their control. This is how gaslighting works. They rewrite the story right in front of you, shifting you from victim to villain. They don't need proof, just the confidence to lie and your self-doubt to believe them. They'll say, "I never said that," when you know they did, or "You're too sensitive," when all you're asking for is basic respect. Their goal isn't truth, it's disorienting you, making you dependent on their version of reality. And the moment you start questioning yourself, you become the easiest piece to move on their chessboard. But gaslighting is just one weapon in their arsenal. Let's examine another classic tactic. They throw you emotional crumbs, just enough to keep you hoping they might change. I call this the breadcrumbing trick. They'll give you a small compliment. "I really appreciate you today," and your heart leaps with hope, but moments later they knock you down with a cold remark or a dismissive action. I was trapped in that cycle before. One small apology, a fleeting glimpse of kindness, followed by more lies and indifference. I kept waiting for a better version of them, a version that never came. It wasn't real change. It was a carefully crafted illusion to keep me playing. Think about it. Why do they do this? Because they don't want peace, they want victory. To a narcissist, every interaction is a power struggle. They don't care about building trust or genuine connection. They care about keeping you in a state of uncertainty where you're always trying to prove your worth. I remember once trying to explain my hurt feelings to a narcissist. I spoke clearly, calmly, hoping they would understand. But they cut me off. "You're always making a big deal out of nothing. I'm so tired of your drama." Drama? All I wanted was to be heard, but they didn't want to listen. They wanted me to stay silent and keep serving their ego. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher I deeply admire, once said, "You control only your thoughts and actions, not those of others." This is the core truth of Stoicism, and the biggest trap a narcissist sets for you. They want you to believe you can change them, that if you just try harder, love them more, and have more patience, they will become the person you hope for. But this is the most dangerous illusion of all. They don't want to change. They want you to keep trying, keep sacrificing, so they can remain king in the emotional kingdom they've built on your suffering. Now, picture this clearly. You are the chess piece, perhaps even the powerful queen, but still under their control. They hold the board, deciding when you move, when you stay still, and when you are sacrificed. Keep playing by their rules and you'll always be in checkmate. But what if you walk away from the board? What if you refuse to be a piece and rise as a free player instead? That's what we'll explore next. But first, we need to understand why this game never truly ends unless you change the way you play. We often carry a beautiful belief that kindness is a magical cure, that if we love enough, are patient enough, and forgive enough, we can heal anyone. I used to believe that. I thought that if I just gave a narcissist in my life enough love, they would one day look at me with gratitude and say, "Thank you, you've changed me." But after hundreds of days of waiting, dozens of disappointments, I came to a painful realization. To a narcissist, love is not medicine. It is a meal they consume but never feel full from. The more you give, the more they take. And they never change. Let's dive into why this happens, from both a psychological and a Stoic perspective. Science has shown that narcissists often lack true empathy. Brain studies revealed that the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for empathy and self-reflection, functions differently in them. They don't feel it the way you or I do. They only see an opportunity to turn the conversation back to themselves. I once shared a terrible day I had with a narcissist, hoping for comfort. They listened for about 30 seconds before cutting in, "Yeah, but yesterday was even worse for me." That wasn't connection, it was competition. But Stoicism doesn't need science to teach us this. It tells us to see reality as it is, without painting it with illusions. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not hope to change what cannot be changed. Accept it and live according to your nature." Narcissists don't change because they don't see a reason to. Why fix a system they believe is already perfect? As long as you keep offering them kindness, patience, and forgiveness, they will keep taking, not to grow, but to maintain control. Look at reality through concrete examples. You forgive them for lying. They don't sincerely apologize, they just learn to lie better next time. You stay patient when they cross your boundaries. They don't stop out of respect. They push further to see how much more you'll tolerate. I once believed that if I just gave a narcissist enough time, they would see the light. I forgave them dozens of times, from small insults to deliberate attempts to humiliate me in front of others. But each time I opened my heart, they didn't step in to build. They stepped in to destroy more. They don't learn from kindness. They learn from consequences. And if there are no consequences, they have no reason to stop. Imagine standing in front of a withered tree. You water it, you nourish it, you wait for it to bloom, but it never does because its roots are dead. You could pour an entire river into it, and it would still remain lifeless. Narcissists are the same. Your kindness is the water, but they are the tree that cannot grow. I spent hours, days, months pouring into someone like this, hoping they would bloom, but they didn't. They simply drained me dry, leaving me exhausted and wondering what I had done wrong. This is where Stoicism steps in to save you from this illusion. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to live according to our nature. Your nature is to give, to be kind, to love. But he also teaches that we must live with reason, not let blind emotions lead us into self-destruction. To a narcissist, your kindness doesn't make them better, it makes you weaker. They don't want healing, they want control. They don't care about growth, they care about keeping you in a state of uncertainty where you always hope but are never fulfilled. Think of this as a simple equation. You keep adding kindness, but they keep subtracting your energy. The result is never balanced. You are always the one losing. I used to think that if I just kept adding, one day they would add back to me, but they don't know how to add. They only know how to subtract. And when I realized that, I understood that the only way to balance the equation was to stop. Now, here's the question I want you to ask yourself. How much water have you poured into their leaking cup? How long have you been waiting for it to fill? And more importantly, are you ready to stop pouring so you can save that water for yourself? This is not a criticism, it's an invitation to wake up. Your kindness is precious, but it is not the key to unlocking their heart. They only open up when your supply runs dry, and that is the moment when you must take action. In the next part, we'll explore how to do that. It's time to change the game, not by playing better, but by walking away from the board entirely. If the narcissist won't stop, you have to be the one to stop. And what is the most powerful tool in your hands? Boundaries. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who survived the conspiracies and chaos of the Roman court, wrote in On Anger, "No one has the right to demand more from you than your limits allow." This is a core Stoic truth. Boundaries are not selfishness, they are strength. They are how you protect the light within you from being extinguished by those who only seek to drain it. Imagine your kindness as a flame, beautiful, radiant, full of life. But if you allow a narcissist too close without protection, they won't warm themselves by it. They'll use it to burn you, or worse, snuff it out so you have nothing left. Boundaries are your fortress, not to isolate you from the world, but to keep those who seek to destroy you on the outside. I once thought setting boundaries meant losing my kindness, that it would make me cold. But I was wrong. It made me stronger, because I learned that kindness is not about giving endlessly, it's about giving wisely. So how do you set boundaries with a narcissist? Remember these 3 words, short, firm, and no explanation. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to write an essay to justify it. I once tried to explain to a narcissist why I could no longer tolerate their disrespect. I said, "You hurt me when you say things like that in front of others, and I need you to stop." They replied, "Why are you making such a big deal? I was just joking." The argument lasted for hours, and I left feeling drained. What did I learn? Explaining is an invitation for them to argue, and they will always win because they don't care about truth, they care about power. Do this instead. When they cross a boundary, say, "I don't accept that." Then stop. They will ask why, they will argue, they will twist your words. Don't take the bait. You don't owe them an explanation, you only owe yourself peace. I practiced this once. A narcissist in my life tried to pull me into their drama by calling me in the middle of the night. I simply said, "I can't talk right now," and hung up. They immediately texted, "Why are you being so cold? I need you." I didn't reply, and for the first time, I felt in control. But be prepared, they will fight back, and fight hard. They may lash out in anger, accusing you of being unreasonable or selfish. They may play the victim, crying to make you feel guilty, telling you that you're abandoning them in their time of need. Or they may go silent, using the cold shoulder as a punishment to lure you back in. I've faced all of these. One narcissist in my life once said, "I thought you were a good person. How could you treat me like this? Just to make me second-guess myself." But here's the secret. Every reaction they have is a tactic to pull you back into their control. Don't react. Let them deal with their own emotions. Think of it as a strength test. They'll throw everything at you, rage, tears, silence, to see if you break. But every time you stand firm, you send a message. I am no longer your prey. I remember the first time I truly held my boundary with a narcissist. They exploded in anger, called me heartless, then went silent for a week. I used to fear that silence, but then I realized their silence wasn't a punishment, it was my victory. They could no longer manipulate me. And when you stop playing, something miraculous happens. They leave. Not because they've changed, not because they've found someone better, but because they need someone easier to control. And that person is no longer you. I used to fear losing a narcissist in my life, afraid that if I set boundaries, I would be alone, that I'd have no one left. But when I did it, I didn't lose. I found myself again. I realized that temporary loneliness was nothing compared to the freedom I gained when they could no longer drain me. Boundaries are not the rejection of kindness. They are how you protect it so it can shine for those who truly deserve it. Think of them like a gatekeeper. They don't lock the door to keep you from living. They lock the door to keep the enemy out. When you stand firm, the narcissist will realize they no longer have power over you, and that is when you become truly free. In the final part, we will explore what this freedom looks like and how you can build a life where your kindness is no longer a weakness, but a force of strength. Walking away from a narcissist is not the end. It is the beginning of a real life. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was once a slave before becoming a symbol of freedom, wrote, "Freedom is when you are no longer enslaved by what is beyond your control." Let that sink in for a moment. The narcissist is no longer your problem. They never truly were the problem. The real issue was that you gave them too much power, the power to define your worth, the power to make you doubt yourself, the power to drain your energy. Now you are taking it all back, piece by piece. Imagine a life where you no longer second-guess yourself every time they say something cruel. A life where you no longer engage in endless, pointless arguments trying to explain your feelings, only for them to twist your words and throw them back at you. A life where you no longer feel empty after giving everything and receiving nothing. Where peace and purpose replace exhaustion and confusion. When I let go of a narcissist in my life, I didn't just free myself from them, I started living as my true self. I discovered a strength I never knew I had, a strength that was no longer dependent on their approval or anyone else's. Think of it like a locked door you've been trying to open for years. You knock, you plead, you use your kindness as a key, but it never opens because the person on the other side never wanted you to walk through. When I stopped knocking, when I turned around and walked away, I discovered another door, a door that led back to me. I no longer needed them to feel whole. I no longer needed their validation to know I was worthy, and you don't need it either. This is the final lesson I want you to take with you. Your kindness is a fire, radiant, warm, full of life, but it was never meant to be extinguished by those who only know how to take. It was meant to burn bright, to warm those who are deserving, those who will bring their own fire and keep it alive with you. I used to think that if I stopped being kind to the narcissist, I would lose the best part of myself. But the truth is, when I stopped giving to them, I found people who truly valued that fire. Friends, family, and relationships built on mutual respect, not manipulation. Now, imagine your life 1 month from now, 1 year from now, if you start today. No more sleepless nights wondering what you did wrong. No more stressful days trying to please someone who can never be pleased. Just you, strong, confident, living in alignment with who you truly are. When you do that, your life will change. Not tomorrow, not next week, but the moment you decide that you deserve better. Today we have traveled a long journey, a journey not just of discovery, but of rebirth. We have seen that kindness is a strength, but to a narcissist it is the very blade they use to cut you deeper each day. Walking away is not losing, it is winning. You deserve a life of freedom where your energy is valued, not exploited, where your fire burns bright without anyone trying to extinguish it. Now is the time to take action. Not tomorrow, but today. Grab a piece of paper and write down 3 boundaries you will set with the narcissist in your life. It could be, I will no longer respond to manipulative messages, or I will not explain myself when I say no, or even, I will not let them make me doubt my worth. Then, take action on one of them today. Just one small step, but it will change everything. Share your experience in the comments. I want to hear your story, because you are not alone in this journey. If this video resonated with you, if it helped you see the light in the darkness, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We will continue exploring Stoic lessons to help you live stronger, wiser, and freer. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, you've got this, You won't just survive the narcissist, you will rise above them, and on the other side, you will find yourself.